Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a special episode all about Fire Force seasons 1 and 2. We're going to be recapping the series for you all since it's been a very long time.
I think it's been like 4 or 5 years.
My gosh.
It's
It
been
has been.
forever.
They're trying to be on their Attack on Titan, and I'm,
Oh, don't
not
give
here
them
for
any
that.
ideas before they say, "Oh, okay, wait, we're actually gonna turn that last episode into a special." Oh, wait,
Oh
it's actually gonna be
gosh.
3 specials.
Oh man. you know, I I wouldn't honestly wouldn't be too mad at that because I feel like I'm owed, even though I'm not owed anything, but I feel like I'm owed some good freaking animation, some excellent storytelling. So I'm
That's
like, you know
fair.
what? As long as you can drop all of that within like a year or two, we're good.
No, you would.
Immediately after,
No,
like
we would be
2025, 2026.
we would be finishing by like 2029 if they go that
Oh
route.
my gosh. It's well, welcome back to the channel. We're gonna talk more about that. But before we get into things, Didge, how are you?
I'm doing good. This was a very fun rewatch.
It was.
Especially like you said, it had been just so long. So um it was great because it was also something that you could watch other stuff and then just use this to fall back on. So I'm doing
Yep.
good.
Yeah, awesome.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm like, I don't know if you guys can see on camera. I think I've mostly recovered, but my eyes are like really glassy and a little red.
Mm,
It's allergy season. The pollen is trying to kill me, but I'm fighting back. I'm fighting back. So
she
we're
been
here.
hitting those trees, y'all.
I've been hitting the tree. The trees have been hitting me, dude. I'm losing right now, but we're gonna get there. We'll be all right. I got a secret weapon for him. I got that
Oh God.
tech.
Oh God.
But uh, let's get the recap started with season 1, where it all began. We kind of have things broken into quarters. So it's gonna be the first half of the first season, and the second half of the first season, then the first half of the second season, the second half of the second season. You get it? Got it? Good. All right.
Okay.
So season 1, quarter number 1, we have Shinra Kusakabe, who is our protagonist, enlisting into the Fire Force on what he claims is the path of the hero. Later on we learn, like, I guess what it means for him to be a hero. It's really
Hmm.
about like trying to protect his family, protect the people he cares about, and just do the right thing at the end of the day, since there are like in school and just other adults that did not do right by him growing up. So he wants to be
Yeah,
different.
his backstory is so sad. Like, obviously, and we'll get into it because I don't think they don't show it. I think they might show it in the first few episodes. Obviously the fire that killed his family.
Hmm.
Um, but the immediate where everybody was like, "Oh, it was his fault," and just coming at him, calling him a devil, like all of that. It's so sad.
Yeah, and it's like they do a really great job with his character because, like, his creepy smile is like his trademark,
Hmm.
and that's something you immediately notice. I know for me, like watching the show, I was like, "Yo, what is up with this dude? Like, why is he always looking like that?"
Hey, go hold you. I was like,
And
"Oh, he might be the betrayer."
he might have done it. He might have done it. But then when you hear like why he always has that smile, and it's really just out of like nervousness, like a nervous tick. I'm like, oh, I can definitely relate because I definitely like if I'm lying about something and like you ask me, I'm definitely gonna start smiling. I can't help it.
Oh, I'm gonna keep
It's
that
just
in
gonna
mind.
happen. Listen, you'll never know. You'll never know.
You just gave away the tick.
No, man, it's for like it's a different, like, if it was a serious like I need to lie right now, like I'm not gonna smile. But if it was something like, hey, did you eat the last chip? I'll be like, no. So, um, yeah, I guess something about me. One of the ticks, only one, and it's the most obvious one that I know about. So y'all, I got it under control somewhat, a little bit. I'm not telling y'all the other ones though. So then we also have Arthur Boyle, who is the self-proclaimed Night King, also joined Shinra as a rookie for our rookie recruit for Company 8. Company 8 itself is very interesting, like just group of people that got together.
It was fun watching it again because you remember Company 8 at the end. Like that was like that lasting scene. And when we get to, obviously, to the end, we'll talk about like where they got to. But obviously, after how long it's been, you just remember that. So to see the humble beginnings again, I was like, oh man, look where they came from. I was pumped for them.
Yep. It was, this is a great show. It does
Mm-hmm.
have its flaws, and we will get to some of those things. But it is a great show. So Iris, the next, we're also not doing like every single little event. We're trying to keep it to like the broad strokes
Yeah,
of
yeah, for
the most
sure.
important things. So Iris is one of the other members of Company 8. She is a sister who's kind of like the, I guess, nuns of the Fire Force. They're big into the soul religion. I forget what is the
The
terminology.
Holy Soul, the Holy
Oh,
Soul. I think that's what they're. I think,
temple?
yeah, I think that's what the religion is called, like the Holy Soul religion. And yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, they're definitely envoys of the temple.
Hmm.
Um, honestly, they're really just tasked before you because they're taking out all of these infernos who are people who spontaneously combusted. So,
Supposedly.
so yeah, supposedly we'll. At this point we just think they spontaneously combusted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but they are very much just there to give the family as well as the person the respect that you are because you are still exercising essentially a demon. So they're
Yeah.
there to let them know that you are guided to your next life, whatever, blah 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 religion shit.
Mm, yeah. Oh, okay. I was really following you. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I forgot the poem, so I could, or the prayer rather.
Oh,
So I could,
Latom.
well, I knew
Lot.
that part, but I don't remember the prayer leading into it. Like, no, the soul is the
Oh,
ash is
no,
the
yeah.
soul or something.
I
It's
don't
a
remember
lot.
that.
I'll try to find it and we'll say it at the end. We'll say it as a group.
Oh my god. Okay. So, Iris also has a very interesting history. Also really sad.
Hmm.
She and Hibana, who's like one of her sisters in the Holy Soul Temple, had to like basically their whole, what would you call that? Like their, I guess their
It was like their orphanage. Well, yeah, because they
yeah,
brought in all the orphans and they were bringing them to become sisters. So
yeah.
I don't know what like nun school. We'll call it nun school.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like what, I don't know. So their whole like nun school orphanage building place, it gets like pretty much everybody goes up into flames as infernals. And
Hmm.
interestingly enough, did they ever talk about like why that was, or all just kind of like happened to them? I feel like it had to have been like some bugs, but I don't know if they ever
I
really.
feel like yeah, you're supposed to kind of infer that. I don't think they definitely said
Yeah,
anything
didn't
explicit.
like
By the way,
confirm.
if you're listening, you still haven't realized this is spoiler filled because I don't think we said that at the beginning.
Oh, I mean, I said as a recap, so like
I'm just, you never know. Like, what if somebody's like, "Oh man, they're telling a lot." Like
listen, you should have watched the show by now. Listen,
that is also
you need to
true.
get up. This is just to remind you of what happened, but
That is
you should
also
have
true.
seen it. um, but yeah, it's inferred that like some foul play was at hand. But it's not fully confirmed. So in my head, I'm a little bit like, but what if? I'm like, I don't know.
No, I
Um,
feel like it was for sure foul play.
no, I know it was foul play, but I'm like, who did it?
Oh, that part's fair. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, and why? It's just like, a nun school orphanage building place. Why would they do that?
No, I get
But
that.
so yeah, Iris and Hibana are the only two that made it out. Iris, that kind of put her on the path to sisterhood. She decided to stay committed, for all the people that We're lost. Habana went a different route. She's like, you know what? Holy Soul did not answer my prayers. Like, let all those people burn. I'm gonna go a different route and become pretty much a masochist. But she was very good at her job and
She
became
was.
the captain of a company.
How long do you think that it was in between those? Like, did they say it? Because I couldn't remember.
um, I I don't know, maybe like I feel like at least 10ish years, something like that, between the time where I guess everybody burned and then she became captain.
Yeah, because it's just like,
Well, they said they didn't say exact time frame, but they did say that Habana rose up the ranks really quickly
that is
because she
true.
was smart, and I think she did something dirty. I forget, not in like a slept her way up. It was a different
No,
kind of
no,
dirty,
no.
but
She, you, if you know, like you've seen the series, obviously you could tell her character is very much, I am better than you, and
yeah,
she has an amazing strength that you see. So you're like, you could fully see that she probably used that to like
yeah,
showed off, did something, and they were like, because once you get into the workings of just the fire force in general and sort of Hajime Industries and all of the inner workings of society, they're all kind of dirty. Like,
yeah, yeah. It's like she knew what she could bring to the table, and she used that to her advantage. Be like, hey, if
hmm
you still want my skill set, like my knowledge, like how I carry out investigations, I need this, this, and this today,
yeah, and
like
she was, and he
now.
just happened to be really effective when, okay, you gave me everything I need to do this investigation.
Yeah,
I'm really effective at getting that done, and the cycle completed itself.
yeah. She is. Before meeting Shinra, would have been one of the worst kind of people that you don't want to run anything. Just like absolute.
She still might not be one of the people you would want running anything.
As long as Shinra's around, I think we're okay.
I was gonna say she still feels like she treats the rest of them like
Oh, yeah, yeah, she's still
it's like
definitely
Shinra and like I feel like Captain Obi.
Shinra. Oh, Obi that she's down with.
Yeah, because like the Eighth Company's captain, like she snipes at him, but now it doesn't feel like she feels like he's nothing. Like it feels more so
Uh,
like rivalry ish now.
okay, yeah. So Shinra, Obi, and Iris, those are on her good list.
Yeah,
Everybody
that's
else,
it. Everybody
questionable.
else, what does she call him? Gravel? Yeah.
Yeah, like pebbles. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of her. I know there's definitely like a lot of cosplay of her and like thirsting as well. So I'm sure lots of different reasons to be excited for Hibana to come back.
Sure, sure.
Then next up we have Shunra and Arthur. After they go to Company 5, do their investigation, find out Habana, she's a sicko, but she's okay. She's not causing infernal attacks. They go to investigate Company 1 under the guise of a rookie exchange program, and that's where they meet Tamaki and Rekka, two very interesting characters. Tamaki has a I
This
forget
is
what they call her condition, but it's basically like fan service machine, fan service disease,
this is
basically.
where you really real like you kind like they dip their toe into it with Hibana, even some
Yeah,
of Iris, and then with Tamaki they were just like actually fan service, and it was just like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Fan service embodied in a character. And it's unfortunate because I feel like she could be a really interesting character, especially as the
hmm
series continues. But it's just like every time she's on the screen, like her clothes have to evaporate, or like she has to sit on somebody's face, or it's just
it's it's so
it's
wild.
it's crazy. And it makes me like it just gives me pause because the same person that made Soul Eater made this, and like that, none of that's not in Soul Eater at all. At least not that I can remember. Given I think that all the people in Soul Eater or all the characters are like mainly kids, so it'd be like really weird to do that. But it's just like, how do you go from Soul Eater just like Tamaki's sitting on everybody's face? Like, how do we
The
get there?
even more so interesting about that is Soul Eater or Fire Force is supposed to lead into Soul Eater.
So is that confirmed or is that a theory? Because I
So
feel like I've
that's no,
heard.
that's the so apparently it must be manga only. Like, well, because obviously we
Mm,
haven't seen the end of the anime, But
Yeah.
apparently, the ending of Fire Force leads you right into Soul Eater.
They do have like the in the trailer for the third season, they have like the moon from Soul Eater up there, I think. So I could see that. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen Soul Eater. I have to rewatch it. That was a
Same.
good one. That was another good anime. Doesn't have all the fan service stuff, so
Maybe it
people
all.
may be happy or disappointed about it.
Maybe maybe the war arc, whatever happens with that, maybe that's that leads them all. Like, all right, we got to get serious in life.
Yeah, maybe so. There is a character in Fire Force. Now I'm not gonna remember, but he has like the pin that Soul has, like the skull.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember. It might be. I don't
Yeah, I wanted to look deeper at it,
know.
but obviously that's gonna spoil the end of Fire Force. So I'm just like, man, hopefully it's clear once we finish the anime.
Yeah, yeah. We shall see. We shall see. But back to Tamaki and Rekka. So they're at Company One. Turns out Rekka, very enthusiastic dude. Seems like, the kind of guy, golden
He was
retriever
too
energy, as
much.
they say.
He was
Golden
too
retriever.
much.
You
Oh
think it was too much?
yes, I was like, oh my god, can he take it down a notch?
He definitely he was very energetic, but I don't know. It's that infectious kind of energy for me, at
It was
least.
not
So I was like,
infectious. It was like, oh my god, what we
I'm like,
doing?
yeah, this guy's a go getter. He wants to do things.
Oh
Turns
god,
out he's going to freaking
he didn't want
kill
to do
those
things.
kids, man.
He
He
wanted to
was
do some very
infecting
bad
them with
things.
them bugs as a part of the evangelist. Now, what's really interesting to me, and I guess Tamaki was only involved in this one time because he got Tamaki to go convince some kids to come to an abandoned warehouse, which there's so many questions. Like, where were the parents? Why did the kids just go with her? Like, I don't know.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
she said like it was for a Fire Force thing, but even then, it's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm a kid. um, but yeah, Rekka was pretty much hitting kids with that little bug to see if they get their Adolaverse activated or they just burst in the flames. And luckily for one of them, they did get their Adola burst awakened. But we did lose, I think, a mom. And did we lose another kid, or was it just the mom?
no, we
Look,
lost. I think for sure we lost a kid, and
yeah.
then
At least from
yeah,
that batch, we know he burnt up
yeah,
so many other people. But
seriously, yeah,
yeah,
he was talking about how he'd been doing this for a while.
yep, yep. So, that was quite the battle, but it was something that I think brought Tamaki closer to Shinra because Shinra, he's always on his hero, like, if you need me, call me, I'll be there. And so
Mm-hmm.
Tamaki, she's trying to fight off Rekka after she realizes that this is not at all a good thing or like gonna help the fire force. But she, you know, being the fan service incarnate, was not able to fight back. So she calls Shinra. Shinra shows up, and as a knight in shining armor, as they say, even though it wasn't Arthur, it was Shinra, and he fights off Rekka. Then I'm trying to remember the order of events here. Rekka basically exposes himself as an evangelist.
Yeah, they were fighting because it was during the fight with him and Shinra. Like that's when he exposes himself, and then I can't remember the guy's name.
The
He
blue
was like
hair guy.
yeah, who has like the ice powers out of nowhere. Like I'm not gonna lie, I still don't understand that power.
Yeah, it's like he uses the heat to freeze
Yeah,
things. Is it like he sucks the heat out? I don't know.
I don't know. It's so interesting, but essentially he comes and he freezes him, and their idea is, we're going to take you back. You're gonna have to pay for this, and you just see a flyer arrow come through and put a big hole in his chest,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh okay, somebody didn't want you to talk, and that's when obviously you see the white clad, they're on like they're not too far, but they're in sniper range, and now they're like, well, everybody has to go.
So the blue hair guy with the ice powers, his name is uh Kareem.
That's right.
And the blonde hair guy who loses an arm in this fight
I forgot
is
about him.
Quo. Is it how you say it?
Dang, I feel bad. I definitely forgot he was a part of the fight.
Dang, man, how did you forget? He lost an arm in that battle.
That's right, because that was the second shot. Because she remember after she shot him through the chest, Rekka, then it was the second one because, like I said, she was like, everybody has to go. There can be no survivors. Their plan was to take the newly awakened, the newly awakened kid,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I think he pushed him out the way or something.
Yeah, he pushed Kareem out of the way of the shot.
But then we saw him again way later in the series. But
yeah, he was doing all right. He was doing all right. He made it. He's fine. He'll be in Fire Force season 3.
yeah,
But yeah, so there were some casualties. There were multiple, but overall, our main cast, they're cool with it. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
oh, that's terrible.
So Tamaki, for being a little dum-dum, she gets put on probation, and I don't understand how this works, but they gave her to Company 8. They're like, yeah, you're on probation. Get out of here. Go somewhere else.
I have no idea. I felt like it was
She
just
had to get with them somehow. They're like, yeah, just go. Just go
for
over there.
sure. But yeah, I think the other big thing, that was our first big look at like the White Clad, right? Like knowing,
yes, that was
okay,
that was when they were first revealed.
yeah, interesting.
Yes. So very this series was not at all what I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought, because there's a different fireman show. This isn't even really a fireman show, but there's a different anime about firemen, and I thought that's what this was. It
Is
looked
it
a
the
little different.
there's
It's like
another
starts with a K or something.
Oh, okay, no, that's not there's another show called like Fire something, and it's another fire anime.
I don't know. I just remember thinking like, oh my god, are people that into firemen? Why? What's going on with this? But I forget what it was that made me want to watch it. But I'm glad I did, because everything that I've seen has turned out way different than I thought it was gonna be.
Ain't gonna hold you. I watched it because I was like, yo, this intro is fire. What is this show?
That's
and
true.
Then
the intro is very
I
good.
watched it. Oh, I was so distraught when they changed it.
Yeah, the other intros are good, but it's just it don't hit the same.
I think if they were for any other show, they would be great. But you came out the gate swinging so hard, and it was just like, you can't change from this.
Yep. That's what I was saying. Once you start with a really, really good intro, where is Don gonna go next?
Seriously,
it's gonna be really hard.
I mean, look at what Jujutsu Kaisen did. They came out the gate swinging. I don't think season 2 was as good as season 1.
No, it's not impossible, but it's hard. It is hard. Speaking of new intros, though, we get to the back half of season 1, where the original intro for Fire Force is no longer playing. So Didge was sad.
Yes, this is where I got distraught.
Yep. Didge was distraught. He cries, and then Company 8 goes on to investigate Company 7. So they're knocking them down one by one. And that is led by Benimaru and Lieutenant Konro and Asakusa. So as they're investigating, the White Clad attack. I think there's actually an infernal pops up, a natural infernal pops up before then, and they kind of see how they deal with it, which is literally by destroying the town, which is interesting.
Yeah, it was crazy because the town was like, yeah, let's go, wreck shop, destroy the town, because they even they didn't even want the prayer. They were just like, no, our way of leaving honorably is getting destroyed by Benimaru. Benimaru ran that town.
Yeah, it was it's kind of like I feel like jazz funerals of executions, where it's we're gonna celebrate his life by destroying this place. So they're constantly rebuilding all the time. It was very interesting. I feel like they don't, in anime in general, I feel like there's not many times where they build up a culture like that, or have something that's really I guess different from what we would perceive as like the normal thing to do, like in certain situations. So I like that they did that, and they like have their own thing going, because it definitely makes them stick out in my head versus like I couldn't tell you what the other areas were, but Asakusa, I could tell you something about those people.
Right, right.
Then the white clad attack, and they make a bunch of manufactured, I guess, infernals with sending out the bugs, so they have to take care of that. Shinra has another hero moment where Lieutenant Konro actually has shares an Adola link with him, which will be really important when we get into season 2 and kind of exploring
Mm-hmm.
the intricacies of like the Adola burst, the Adola link, and all of that. So, Victor Licht, I don't know how you say it. That's German. But he joins Company 8 once everything settles down. Hajime sends them a scientist so that way they can really get into their investigation bag. And since Hibana was supporting Company 8 in that kind of role, and so now Victor can relieve Hibana of her duties, which, by the way, we didn't mention. So Shinra and Hibana had a battle, and Shinra ended up winning just barely. I don't remember how he did it, but
He honestly, he didn't even fully. I feel like it wasn't even a full win. I think he like withstood her attack and like
yeah.
I think he like headbutted her. So it was something, yeah, like you said, it was very barely.
Yeah. Like if she was at the top of her game and she wasn't just like underestimating him, he would have been cooked for sure.
Yeah,
Literally would have been
probably.
cooked. But because he was willing to put everything on the line, Habana was really impressed by that, and then she kind of has like a crush on him the rest of the series, and that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of why we say like Shinra's on the good list when it comes to Habana. So when she was relieved of her services by Victor, she was like not super happy to go back to her duties of being a captain for
It
Company 9.
also doesn't feel like she still showed up fairly
Yeah, she
frequently.
still is
Like
hanging out. She's still hanging
she
out.
still hangs out a lot with Company A because she's also back on good terms with Iris and everything. So like she
Hmm.
has a lot of reasons to still come around.
Honestly, it's like every company that they go and visit, it feels like they frequently see like their
Mm-hmm.
other I guess like peers from different companies after that. So it's kind of like building on the camaraderie and seeing like how many people are fighting against the man, fighting against Hajima and the evangelist.
Yeah,
Um which is cool to see. I
it
like it.
is.
It does make you question like how are you doing your job? You just hanging out a
But
lot.
also, you don't see Company Eight. Like many Infernos are there really? Because even Company Eight, it's not like you when they I forgot, and this is like obviously jumping ahead in the second season when they had like the episode where they actually got back to actually fighting. It's like, oh shit,
Hmm.
yeah, they do have a real job that they should be
Yeah,
doing.
yeah. It's like they all happen all at once, and then there's just a quiet season.
Right.
It's literally like wildfire season, and then it's like all the other seasons. Although if you look at it today's standards, it could just be all the time
Yeah,
wildfire
I
season.
mean,
But that's something different. But yeah, Victor, he joins Company 8. He's a little squirrely, weird, kind of like a man. So I already knew something was going on with him. Already knew.
yeah, he looked sus.
He does. Turns out he is, but we haven't got to that point yet. Nobody knows. We also have Vulcan. They're looking to continue to span Company 8, and Vulcan is a crazy wizard with the mechanics. He's very good. The
Mm-hmm.
Fire Force and Hajime in general have been trying to recruit him for years, but he keeps saying like, no, don't work for Hajime because his family helped build Amaterasu, and then they got nothing for it, pretty much. So,
Yeah,
um,
he was a genius engineer though.
yes, very good. Very. What was interesting, like I don't know, his intro is very impactful, and I'm glad it was because I feel like episodes past that he doesn't get to shine as much.
You think so?
Um,
We'll talk because I feel like, and we'll talk about it actually right after this. No, is it? No, it might be the. I'm trying to remember which one, with like with the puppeteer fight and stuff like that. So
yeah,
later when we get to there, I feel like I feel like he had some decent moments to shine.
he does have good moments. So I'm like, I don't know. I feel like you don't get to see like how quirky he is with like the. He likes to build things and then like smash on the ground, see if it
Oh,
breaks,
fair.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you
But
don't
maybe
see
he
that
left that
anymore.
behind. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, basically he has an apprentice, which Shout out to that man. Lost. Didn't he die?
Yeah, he got taken out by Dr. Giovanni.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
I
that
I
was
have a
sad.
question about once we finish this part.
Okay. Okay, so yes, Dr. Giovanni, he also has approached Vulcan many times to
Hmm.
join the Fire Force, join Hijima. He he wasn't was he a captain for a company? I think he was.
Yes, he was supposed to be captain. I'm pretty sure it was company two, and that's what my question comes. Because obviously we're gonna find out throughout this that he's a traitor. He's
Yes.
actually a white clad, like he's working for them. They never said if he's like not working for that company. Like, what happened? They never say anything. Like nobody ever brings up the fact that he was a former Fire Force member.
So
Like, did he just go
so
into work the next day? Like, yo, man, that was crazy. Like,
so, so I feel like what happened. So he attacks Vulcan in this.
it was three,
His
by the way.
attack
Sorry, I misspoke. It was company three.
company 3. Okay. I'm also trying to fight back a sneeze, so it may happen soon.
Okay,
But so yeah, Dr. Giovanni attacks Vulcan after he says no for the millionth time because yeah, he's just sick of it. He's like, "Yeah, you're just gonna come with us, or you're gonna die. You got two choices."
right.
And he actually brings out a bunch of evangelists to come attack. So Arthur is holding off people. Habana shows up eventually. She's holding off people. Shinra does get into the fight, but I think he gets knocked out in the middle of it. So Vulcan's kind of on his own against Dr. Giovanni, and they beat him by Iris, I guess, pressing a bunch of buttons, and the gadgets kind of overwhelms Giovanni.
Yeah,
I can't fully remember how that exactly worked. There's so many battles where it's just like, how did this? I don't know how this worked out, but I
yeah.
guess it did.
I feel like that's right.
Yeah, and so after they retreat, I believe Company 8 tries to report Dr. Giovanni, like, hey, like, he's a member of the White Clad. So then they have a fake Dr. Giovanni make a press statement. And I can't remember if he said he was innocent or I feel like he said he was guilty, and they locked up the fake Dr. Giovanni, but the
Okay,
real Dr. Giovanni, I think, was still on the loose with the like he just officially went white clad after that. He's like, yeah, I'm not on the Fire Force anymore.
okay, that makes sense. I couldn't remember because I was just like nothing. No one ever said anything else about it. Like, obviously, the people who we see, but it was like
Hmm.
that should have been a bigger deal. Like, you were a captain.
Yeah. Honestly, I should have been looking at the lieutenant, like, yo,
Yeah, that's
are
also
you with
true.
him? Like,
Yeah,
what's going on with that? So I think kind of similar to Demon Slayer, where you meet like Hashira or two each season. Of course, I think this is the final season of Fire Force, so if we're gonna meet the other captains, like
I
they all
think we
just
have
gotta.
met all of them.
I don't think we met 8 captains,
So, like,
have we?
okay,
We do have
winner. So we got
Burns.
Burns.
Yeah, he was. I
Uh,
think have
two
yeah.
was bald
The
head
old
guy.
dude,
No, that was the bald head guy.
the one that was crazy.
The one who and I because I just watched it where they
Hmm.
walked into his office, he was like doing neck training and he was bolted against basically to the ceiling.
Oh, I don't
His
remember
his
him.
hair his hair always, well, not, he's bald, so his head catches on fire and he's like,
Oh,
I'll
okay,
send you a picture of him.
okay, okay.
Um, three obviously was Giovanni.
Geo.
Four was the old guy. That's the one that you're talking about.
Yeah,
Five is Hibana.
yeah.
Six is it's another lady because she
Oh, the
talked.
doctor lady.
Yes. Then seven
Okay,
is Benny Maru, and then yeah, eight.
Benny Maru. Okay, dang, we did then. Hmm. Yeah, I guess they just didn't make a big deal about them all.
Yeah, I feel like 4 and 6. You don't really care about the rest of the platoon. It's just you care
Yeah.
about the commanders.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, then we met everybody then. There'll probably be some new captains installed, but we met
Oh
at
yeah,
least
for
the
sure.
old guard. Okay, good
Because
to know. Good
4
to know.
also had Ogun. That's right.
Right.
That's the
Yes.
only other person I. Oh, and is no Juggernaut's
The
on one.
Oh, okay,
or two because he showed up in. Yeah, I don't. You're right.
yeah.
It's
It's
a
a
lot
lot.
to remember.
It's a lot. Yeah, they'll have to hopefully wouldn't that be funny if they did like a recap so it's like, "Oh, it's been like some years."
Oh,
Listen, it won't be as good as ours, okay? It won't be as
mm-mm,
good.
mm-mm.
Won't be as detailed. We'll have as many, thoughts and memories while it was happening. But yeah, so after Dr. Giovanni attacks Vulcan, Vulcan's like, okay, I'll hang out with Company 8. I'm not joining, but I'll hang out with Company 8 while we're trying to figure out what's going on with Vulcan or what's going on with Dr. Giovanni, what's going on with the White Clad. And he also had what was the girl that he was like hanging out with that she turned on him and
Yeah, then he
came
got
back
her
to him.
back.
Yeah.
Cause I forgot about her when she showed up in the second season. I was like, "Who is this lady?"
I briefly had that too. I was like, what the heck? What was her
um,
name?
let me look. Uh,
Okay.
I
All Didge looks while you look for that. So Vulcan and the girl that Didge is looking for, the name,
Lisa.
they Lisa, that's right.
It's such
They
a basic name.
I know. They hang out at Company 8 trying to figure things out. But Vulcan's also like he's got the busy hands, he wants to keep things moving. So he does make some gadgets for Company 8. Those being the dang, not everything's flying out of my head. The weapon that Maki uses.
Oh yeah, the Tekio. I do remember that.
Tekio, yes. Made that. I think upgraded the matchbox a little bit. And I want to say he did something else, but I can't remember.
It might be little things because like it feels like definitely for the rest of the series he's been kind of like just doing different stuff like
Yeah,
upgrading stuff
some
or
tinkering. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, he unofficially joins the Fire Force at that moment because I don't
he,
think they ever say like he's officially in.
he
But
had he had the jumpsuit on. He in.
yeah, he's there. So he goes with them on missions because he also wants to know what's going on with the White Clad. One wants to investigate Hijima, and he wants to make right on his family name, and I don't think necessarily take credit for Amaterasu, but find out more about how it was built so that he can build a cleaner Amaterasu that doesn't require all the energy and stuff that it's been taking so far, which we'll
hmm
find out later is a person with an Adola burst.
Yeah,
Bum,
which
bum,
was
bum. That was really interesting. And something I don't know how much time we have in season 3 because I want them to dig more into that because I'm still a little confused, but
I feel like that has to be a major part of the season. Like
yeah, you would think at least. You
that
would
would be
think.
crazy if it wasn't.
But speaking of major parts of the season, to cap off season 1, we find out that Shinra's family that we thought was Ash at this point, his brother, his little brother, Sho, actually survived the accident because he had his own Adola burst awaken at the same time that Shinra had his awaken. And also turns out they don't dig too much into this at the end of season 1, but they do start with it at the beginning of season 2. His mother is the infernal that started the fire that burned his house down. And it turns out she might still be around
Yeah,
and
which was
that he
interesting.
might have seen her before.
Yeah, because
um,
they said like she was the one that took show to the evangelist. Like
yeah,
it was a lot.
it was. And speaking of another parallel with Demon Slayer, then Shinra's like, you know what? I'm going to find a way to turn Infernals back to
hmm
humans, or I guess back to normal. So that part, I'm like, I don't know if you can do that. Like, I feel like Nezuko going from a demon to a human, like, plausible, you might
Yeah,
could do it.
it's over for his mom. He just better focus on
Yeah.
getting his brother back.
She literally, like, her skin's burned off. She's got horns where her eyes should be now. Like, I don't know if
Yeah,
there's,
I think it's over for her.
yeah. I'm like, maybe if she was just a regular an infernal demon, I think you're a
You're
demon
kind of
now.
cooked. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like you're not human anymore.
yeah, I agree.
Unfortunately. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe miracles will happen. Um Yeah, and then we go into season
Do we want to
2.
talk about like the first season? I guess like our thoughts or anything, or are we just? How do you want to do this?
Ah, man, I wanna feel like I don't need to sneeze anymore, honestly. That's number 1. Number 2, sure, we can do, a recap of first season thoughts. I really enjoyed it. I think, the fighting was great, animation was
Hmm.
great. Oh my god, it's so bad.
While
It's
you're
so bad.
focusing on trying to either sneeze or not sneeze,
I just wanna do it at this point.
yeah, no, I would echo that. I think it was it was a lot of fun, like you said. It started off as an anime you didn't have to kind of take too seriously, and I feel like they still try to keep it very light and a lot of levity with it. Like, I think that comes away sometimes a little too much fan service with it, but you could tell like they are still very much at heart a series that is not serious. Like
Yeah.
even when like as we start getting into season 2 and some of the stuff, like even some of the fights had like a humorous aspect to it because they want you to know at the end of the day we are not serious.
Yeah, yeah. And that's damn, it's so bad. And that's something I love about this series is they're willing to um like be serious and ground themselves, but they also had the flexibility to like do something funny, do something goofy. Maybe, you know, I guess fan service is part of that. Oh
Bless
my
you,
god.
bless you. Finally
Oh,
out of there.
oh
But
my
yeah,
god.
no, to echo your point, while you come down from that, yeah, I like you said, they fan service is probably a part of it, but even in moments where you think that like you're going for the heart, the tear jerking moment, they would just cut it at the knees immediately with like levity,
Mhm.
and it because it was such a shock. Because you're obviously you're trained to when you start seeing some of these moments that it's all going to be doom and gloom and a heartbreak. It was almost like, oh, this is great. So
Yeah. Yeah. It was a very, very fun show to rewatch. And I was gonna say earlier about the animation before I was like teetering on sneezing or not sneezing. I think they like when they do the split between like 12 and like getting into like the next set of 12 episodes, like I always feel like there's like an animation jump or they try to like further develop their style in some kind of way. And that's been super fun to watch as the series has progressed. So that's
yeah,
something I've looked forward to as well.
I would agree.
Yeah, but great season. Definitely surpassed my expectations from what I originally thought the show was going to be. I actually didn't even know it was connected to Soul Eater, so that shows you how much I knew about the show.
To be honest, I found that out way after I had watched both seasons originally. So that was another
Hmm.
thing that was fun about rewatching them because knowing that connection, you start trying to think like, what can I see? Can I see the groundwork being laid? Not gonna lie,
Yeah.
still didn't see it.
I I knew I think probably into season 2 because I was like, dang, like this art style really looks familiar. And then I finally looked up I'm like, oh, it's by the same person. Like that makes sense.
Mm,
Especially when you get to some of the even at the start of season 2 with like the fifth pillar Inca and like some of the crazy facial expressions she makes, I'm like, oh, I've definitely seen that in Soul
yeah,
Eater.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
definitely
That
seen
part
that.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. If y'all seen it, y'all know y'all seen some of that. Um, but yeah, you want to dive into season 2?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously, I'll start. And I'll that way you don't have to keep going through it. So season
I'm like, I'm
two,
okay right now. We'll see.
season 2, it starts with the fifth pillar Inca, and I don't know how to pronounce. Is it Kasugatani? We're just gonna call her Inca. She awakens.
Yeah,
And with her
you
awakening,
were right, by the way. You said it right.
oh, great, great. With her awakening, both the Fire Force and the White Clad are very much trying to bring her into their fold. So
Hmm.
they meet. I can't remember where. To your point, um, the only area I can truly remember is the Seventh Company's area.
Yeah,
Um, but their convergence it creates
I think they're in
essentially.
Tokyo.
Well, I see. I because they're the
It's some
Tokyo
like
Empire. I thought all
regular
of it was
area.
Tokyo. I'm not gonna
Oh, you
lie.
know what? The city. They meant the city.
That works. That works. Um, But yeah, so meeting once they meet in the city, that's when, like I said, that culmination. It's a large scale battle, and I'm talking there were demon infernals popping up. They had like
Mm-hmm.
a large fire tornado, and everything. It basically ruined that city. And this is in the city that's like Asakusa.
Yeah.
Okay, where they welcome the damage. I mean, obviously, they're probably happy that they aren't infernals because that
Mm-hmm.
was sort of the point. Is just sort of ruining everything. But it was a large scale damage, and even still, at the end of the day, the White Clad won because Inca is very much an agent of chaos, and
Oh
instead
gosh,
of
man.
wanting to go to the safety, she was lured in by the promise of danger. So it was, I guess, technically a loss for the Fire Force.
Was it?
It in a way it is, I guess, because now the White Clad are one step closer to their goal, even though she is very much insane.
Yeah, she not a big fan of Inca at all, not
At
gonna lie.
all. No.
Like,
No.
I wanted to be on her side, and she just, like, at every turn was like, "No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't."
No. Immediately I was like,
It's
"Oh,
so
I'm
hard to root for her, like, and I know Shinra was, like, trying to get her over on their side multiple times. At towards the end, I was like, "Shinra, just let her go." Clearly, she knows where she wants to be at. She
yeah."
is here for the pain, the destruction, the danger, all of that, and that
Like
is not something that you want with
she
you.
even took out her friend came. I don't even remember the first guy dying. I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't
That
remember
was
he.
like that was like when the White Clad first found her after she had, like, I think initially had awakened. Um, they killed her friend, and she did seem very upset about it, and I don't know what happened between that moment and, like, towards the end where you
Okay.
were talking about, but she just didn't
I
care anymore.
I did not remember it because when he popped up and he was like, "Oh my god, they killed him! I'm gonna get you, get away from him! I'm gonna get you away!" And she just kills him, and I'm like, "What happened here? What are we doing?" Like this lady,
I don't know.
she is a certified psychopath.
Yeah, she got, she's a perverted lady in a really
To be honest,
perverted for violence.
a lot of these white clads are like
Yeah, they
Haumea.
got
We haven't.
something wrong with them.
She Haumea is insane.
Yeah, she's just well, she's kind of like Inca. She's like Inca, but I guess more palatable for me.
Really,
Yeah, like she's just willing to let anybody go. Like she don't care. She's just here for fun, kind of thing.
she
Whereas
is, but she
Inca
also
feels
like
like
controls
just a
people's
plain jerk.
minds.
Yeah,
That's creepy.
yeah. I mean,
I
it's still
mean,
bad, still bad,
yeah, I
but
get you. I
I don't
definitely
know.
I get you. But after that, I guess failure, in not being able to bring in the fifth pillar, they continue their investigation, and Shinra, Arthur, Tamaki, Victor all go onto a joint operation on the Chinese peninsula with Ogun and Juggernaut.
Hmm.
At the time, I think at the time they were already calling him Juggernaut, but he's
Yeah.
definitely who Juggernaut was interesting because when you see him, you're like he looks like a big guy. And then one, I don't know if you watched it subbed or dubbed.
Dubbed for me this time.
This
I
man,
originally watched it sub.
I definitely originally watched it sub. So this is the shocker to me. I didn't get this. I didn't get this vibe when I was listening to it in Japanese. They made him so country.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I was like, yo, this man is so country, and like his family is potato farmers who are actually potato farmers on that or on the Chinese peninsula. So we got to see his mom. I don't remember if we saw his dad or not, but
I don't think so. I don't think so.
okay, I thought it was just his mom.
I think his dad might have been towards the end of this arc, but I don't think she was there to. I don't think he was there to greet him.
Okay, okay. Well, yeah. Like I said, we greet his mom, and she's talking about how the farm is dealing with something stealing their potatoes.
Hmm.
So, he definitely wanted. You could tell he wanted to stop and sort of take care of that, but they are there for an investigation, and that investigation leads them to finding out who is taking the potatoes, and you find out why it's like these talking animals, and it's because their oasis around the tabernacle has been corrupted, and they were driven out of their homes, and now they kind of have to fend for themselves and do what they can to eat.
Hmm.
Um, Upon going to the tabernacle, we find out it looks almost exactly like Amaterasu, just smaller.
Yep.
So it's like a precursor to Amaterasu, and that's where Shinra starts hearing the voice about protect the forest. He doesn't really know what he's protecting the forest from at the time. He doesn't know who's telling him to protect the forest.
Yeah.
Um, but eventually you find out it is another demon infernal. He had a name. I forgot his name. Tempe.
Mm.
Tempe, who is essentially wanting to destroy the tabernacle because he thinks it's going to end all suffering in the world. And you find out that he is like a person who had been suffering for years. Like, I guess Inferno, it makes sense that Inferno, if you don't exercise them, they just don't die. So he
Yeah.
had been wandering and wandering for years, and he finally wanted to end all of his suffering as well as just in the world. And so Shinra, he's obviously going to stop that. You very this is probably one of my favorite fight scenes, I think. Seeing Ogun with his power being able to
Yeah.
fight, like his was so cool. It was kind of kind of paused a minute that he was playing basketball with it. I'm not gonna hold you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was like they didn't need to do that.
It was like, oh, we didn't need that, but it was really cool. Shinra spent this like 90% of the fight trying to figure out who the voice that he's hearing. You find out like it's
Yeah.
the
He was
lady in
just sitting
black.
there like
Literally,
meditating.
Ogun's like, yo, I need help here. Like I'm going to burn myself out. And then this is where everything sort of starts to unravel, like the truth of what's going on
Yeah.
behind the scenes with everything. Like you find out that the lady in black, who is the voice that he's hearing, she was one of, I think she might have been the first, because she came with like out of Adola, I think,
I
with the
think so.
evangelist
Yeah.
who imbued her with the power using the bug to become an infernal, awakened her Adola burst, and then made her the power source of the tabernacle.
Hmm.
And she had obviously, it had been so long, she now only had enough power in like to give the Adola blessing, whatever they call it, to Shinra for a second, and that was literally all he needed. Which at first I was like, that's crazy. But then when you remember how with Show how it was stopping time and like how they were during their fight, it's like, okay, it
Hmm.
actually makes sense.
Yeah.
So oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't know if we went into detail with that, but so
I don't think we
both
did either.
Show, he has like the blessing of the evangelist, which allows him to like move. So I don't know if it's move so quickly he enters another dimension, or if he just like enters another dimension that's like
I
parallel to ours in general.
Yeah, the way that they kind of try to explain it, and I think it's the same for Shinra too, is like he moves so fast that, like you said, he goes into another dimension, but your entire body breaks apart. And
Yeah,
upon coming back, again, you're still moving so fast that your body hasn't known, like, doesn't know that it disintegrated in that other dimension. So it just puts itself back together.
I think Show doesn't do that. I
Okay.
think the Shinra does that,
Okay.
which is unfortunate for sure. I think Sho, he might just be in another dimension, and I guess Shinra's able to enter it because he's going so fast. It's like everything comes together, I guess.
It was a
Not
lot.
super sure on the science
No.
on that.
No.
But we know for sure Shinra's definitely he's disintegrating and then like coming back together in the times that he's like flashing from place to place.
Yeah, because the big thing was if he sort of burns out in the middle of that, obviously he can't use his powers to put himself back together.
Yeah.
So that was supposed to be like the oh my god, and then I feel like it never came up again.
Yeah,
Like they brought it up
yeah.
during that initial fight, and then it was just like, okay, well, it didn't work. You're fine there. Okay,
Well,
don't
it's
doesn't
like
matter anymore.
he got stabbed in the chest, so it's like I guess that was the death scare.
Maybe,
So
yeah.
maybe at the end of season 3, I don't know, it'll come back where he's like, by the way, don't forget, like if you burn out, and then it'll be like, oh, and he'll die. I don't know.
Oh, but yeah, like I said, this is definitely where you start understanding that the tabernacle and by extension Amaterasu have to be fueled by something. and
Mhm.
you find out that it's like somebody in there within the Dola burst. So now everybody who's there, like their faiths are kind of shaken because
Yep.
you're like you start realizing that everything has sort of been just orchestrated by the evangelist. Like
Mhm.
she very much set everything down the path that it is. Like even you find out that Raffles the First probably wasn't the same, or like you start learning details about Raffles the First. I think when you start, I think it's after the Holy Soul Temple. That's when you find out like the full details of who he is. But
Yeah.
um everything sort of starts to unravel. And, like you can already tell that like faiths are starting to be shaken.
Mhm.
And this is actually right where you were saying that you were a Joker fan. Like, obviously, we haven't like this is or not necessarily a fan, but you said you're on his side because we're starting to get into that point when we get into the second half of season 2, and it starts with Joker and Benny Maru going in. They invade this Holy Soul Temple. They take
Mhm.
out all the guards. I still don't understand how he survived the poison. I guess he burnt it out.
Oh, he's just him. I don't know.
He just, you know what? I'll take it. Um, but in the culmination of that fight, like I said, he took out sort of like their hidden guards.
Yeah.
Joker got his come up on the person who bullied him as a kid, and when Burns confronts him,
Oh
gives
wait,
him the
actually,
dire.
hold on. The thing about so it's not even that he got bullied. Like it
It was
was
pure.
really
It was
bad.
really bad. It was
It
really
was
bad.
really bad. So, and I need people to know because I forgot. And so when I rewatched, I was like, oh god.
Yeah, it was
So
terrible.
yeah, so Joker and Burns were a part of this like kind of like a secret society that like guards the Holy Soul Temple,
Hmm.
and they were not, the people running it were not good people.
Which
The
is honestly par for the course. Like you start to
Yeah.
realize by now, you realize as you're into the series, like a lot of these people are not good people.
No, yeah. It's I think it's the same people that run Hajima. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's the same.
It
Um
feels like the same.
yeah. There's definitely a lot of overlap, however way you look at it. But yeah, this we'll call him, well, what should like the trainer for
Hmm.
Joker, I guess. He wanted to humble Joker because Joker's like one of the best fighters, and he was like a very young kid. So he like beat him up,
He
and then
also didn't fully believe. And sorry to cut you off, but he also didn't fully
oh yeah,
believe in their, I guess their ethos, like that especially that part of like whether it's Hajima or the Holy Soul Temple, they were very much you don't have individuality, and
yeah,
Joker was not going for that. Like he was very much no, everybody has individuality. Everyone is special in their own right, and this guy and sort of the brass at large were like, well, no, we want to show that, or we want to be uniform in everything, like to the point where their uniforms don't even you can't see their face.
yeah. And then he also, I just kind of had an inkling that what he was being told was not necessarily the truth, but he didn't really fight against that until after he left the Holy Soul Temple. And the
Hmm.
reason why he left was like he was pretty much like he was sexually assaulted by this trainer guy who's a man and he was like a child
It
at the
was
time.
so crazy.
Yeah, it was really, really, it was pretty much like, I don't know if anybody's seen the I forget if it's Berserk 2016 or whatever it is. Isaac would, I know if Isaac would hear, he'd be like, "Don't watch it. Don't look at that." Cuz it's not great. It's not great. But there's a
Hmm.
character in it that is also happens to be like very religious. Different religion, but very religious, and she like punishes herself with like lashes and knives and all these kinds of things. But she's also like gets turned on while she does it. And
Oh,
that's kind of what was happening with this, where the trainer was punishing Joker, but he was like into it. So it just added another level of like, I was disgusted and I was like, you know what? I'm fully team Joker. Whatever he does, I'm going to support him. And I'll be like, this is the reason why.
yeah, no,
So,
I fully understood why you would say that because, like I said, he went through a lot. It was
yeah.
terrible. Um, and I think, and this is the point where you could tell a lot of characters their faith in just this holy soul temple was shooken, and
Yeah.
for me, I was like, yeah, I could see why these people are terrible. Like,
Yeah. I think like even with Iris and that was like a couple episodes where Iris was talking to Shinra about I guess just like how all this has affected her as like a sister of the Holy Soul Temple. And she's like, I choose to believe that like, what we've read in the scriptures about like the original raffles and like why we're here to like help people and all that. Like I think that that is true even though like we've been infiltrated by evangelists. So I just have to believe in the good of everything and
mhm.
not worry about everything else. So yeah, at this point, there's definitely like a lot of splintering, and I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the show, how I don't know how I'll lead the Soul Eater, but at the end of the show, like we see like different parts of the religion start to form. Where it's like, okay, I believe like X, Y, and Z is true, so I'm gonna go here. Like I believe like A, B, and C is true, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
here. So yeah, there's a lot. There's definitely like the meat and potatoes of this show as far as like lore and backstory and like motivations for things. I think a lot of it happens in season 2.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Like, you start to realize not only what you're fighting for, but who you're fighting for and who you're fighting with.
Hmm.
And even as we get into sort of this next arc, or yeah, this next arc where they have to go, like where Hajime ask Victor to bring Shinra to them, you start to realize that again, so many people are terrible and they believe that they are fighting for what's right in their own way, that um in a sense you kind of have to like work with your enemy in a way, like and
Yeah.
it's it's enough that you can see how shook they are with having to deal with it. Like you said, Iris, she very much was like, I have to just believe what I'm doing is right. And
Hmm.
Captain Obi, he kind of echoed the same, where he was kind of like, I have to believe in our mission, and our mission is to help people.
Yeah.
Um, I can't let these outside forces shake me from that. And I think it was really bold of them to show it right before this Hajime arc, because once you go into Hajime and you start seeing what they're doing with the kid, Nataku, and how he is literally again also being abused. Like, the guy
Hmm.
that they have training them just to sort of I don't even know if he's trying to help him learn his powers. Like, he's just I think that's supposed to be like their goal, or like they're trying to measure the Adola burst.
Yeah.
But he was very much just I want to pick on weak people, and
Yep.
it's fun for me to pick on weak people. And Hajima very much knew that. Like, you could see so much, like the people who are observing it, they knew what he was doing, and they just turned a blind eye to it because he's still being effective in achieving their goals. So like when Shinra comes and he has the Adola link with the kid, hearing him just saying, "Please, can someone come and help me?" Obviously, that kicks the arc into full gear. Shinra has to go find the kid. He ends up meeting up with the. I wish I knew his name.
I'm trying to find it.
Okay. Oh, I can continue while you're doing that. When you know, like I said, they end up him and Shinra end up having a fight, because I know he has Tecrosis. Is it Tefrosis or Tecrosis? I can't remember.
I feel like it's Tefrosis. That
Okay,
sounds more
that does
right.
sound more right. Well, he has Tefrosis, which essentially is like when you overheat and continue try to use your power, your your powers are gone, but you also like your skin becomes black and charred. Like you start
Oh,
burning yourself essentially.
his name is Yuichiro.
Yuichiro. Okay, so Yuichiro has Tefrosis, but he can still utilize it in like ash. Like, so he uses the ash to see like subtle changes in the heat. So like now he has super good reflexes. He used it to create weapons with. He even used it to just raise the temperature in the room, so that way you're starting to overheat faster. You're not getting enough oxygen in your brain. So he was a really effective fighter, but he was just
Hmm.
also very very sadistic. And like, I, you were saying that you didn't like Inca, like she was probably not one of your favorite characters. I despise this guy. Like, even when they tried
Oh,
to give
really?
him his, even at the end of it, when they tried to give him like his moment of, hey, you stay weak, I believe you. And it's like, you are terrible. Your message is terrible. I get what you're trying to do, but it's like you said it. It's just awful.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So you know that part in the end, it kind of won me over a little. I still think he's bad, but I feel like he cares about Nataku in a really twisted kind of way. Really
interesting.
twisted kind of way.
I just left it feeling terrible for Nataku because he,
Oh
like you,
yeah, it's definitely so.
he he went through so much in this arc. So he was already being abused by this guy. And then his power starts to sort of awaken more, and that gets the attention of the White Clad, who Haumea and Arrow, they were kind of tasked with bringing him in. I think, was she the one, or was it is it Rita? Was she the one who was? Cause they were both there. I don't know if it was all four of their jobs, or if it was just like,
I just think somebody had to do. I don't know if it was anybody in
okay,
particular.
okay, fair enough. But yeah, so it was Haumea, Rita, Charon, and Arrow, basically all there to bring in, he essentially, I guess, the fifth pillar or sixth pillar, or was he just an adult
I think
link?
it's the sixth because Inca was the fifth. Yeah, it was the sixth.
Okay, so yeah, so to bring in the sixth pillar, and Haumea, who is just another agent of chaos, decides, I'm going to make essentially a kaiju out of him.
Yeah, which
And
is I didn't even know she could like do that.
well, I think Ritsa might have like been the one to make the kaiju, but then Haumea messed with his mind to basically make him a mindless kaiju.
Yeah.
Because Ritsa was the one who can like basically
Like reanimate the
manipulate.
dead.
Yeah, like she can do all
Yeah.
types of weird stuff, and we'll find out like some of the other crazier things that she could do at the end. But like I said, he was mindless. He was seeing his mom, who earlier when you were saying like asking about where are the kids' parents. Well, we saw his
Yeah.
parents. His parents are terrible. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. He
so
did not have a lot
she
going
was
for him.
his mom was cool with him basically going because she thought he was doing something for the fire force, and she's like, you will finally essentially be useful. So like him dealing with his PTSD of that sort of created so much chaos to the point where luckily um I think it was Vulcan who had the idea to have Victor. No, I'm sorry. Vulcan had the idea for Arthur to put his sword. He basically created EMP. So now
Yeah.
Palmea, her electrostatic powers can't work, and they were able to get him to snap out of it. And Charon, I thought he died when he
Yeah, I did
that
too.
big blast. Granted, we didn't see him for the rest of the season, so who knows what he has going on.
Yeah.
But he redirected the big blast, told the rest of the crew, "Look, we just need to leave him here right now." And
And
the
we'll
white
be
clad,
back.
yeah, the white clad left that, and they left Natsuku with this crazy guy, and I'm just like, oh. Again, I don't think that was a good choice, but oh, go ahead.
I'm like, it wouldn't be a good idea to have all the pillars sitting together either. So like,
Also true.
I don't know. I feel like at least Yoichiro, like, he's he'll play with his toy, he won't break him.
That's so
As sad
sad.
as it is,
It's
so
so
like,
sad.
and I do think he like after everything had happened, it did feel like, at least to me, a little bit like he was like, okay, I have to kind of like build this kid up because there are other people that are gonna try and get him. So like,
Mhm.
we both have to get stronger. I just have to be stronger than him at the end of the day, but we
Yeah,
both
that's
got to get
fair.
stronger.
That's fair. While all that's happening, we do see Maki and Vulcan fight the puppeteer also.
Yes.
And this is where earlier when I was talking about how they still try to create levity even in the middle of a fight, like her Dominion robots, their big power was like poots. And it was just
Yeah,
like
that was.
it was weird, but it created a lot of levity in the middle of the fight. That lady was also very much crazy.
Hmm.
That's one thing I feel like the series does really well, is to let you know, like, when you're bad and you're unhinged, you are unhinged.
Yep.
um but that fight ended with Maki. She had her first big moment. With her and Vulcan basically going against a third generation user who sort of outclassed them, but they used. It seemed like they used her power against her, like by making it
Mm-hmm.
spin. It seemed like it overwhelmed the robot. And then when she had the more robots, that's when the white clad sort of, funny enough, saved the day for them.
Yep, broke
Like
it up.
it was crazy in that, but this arc very much led you with the enemy of my enemy has to be my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end, Hajima very much says, "Oh yeah, no, we know that Amaterasu is powered by an Adola Link user. That's why we are looking for other Adola Link users because we want to create another one." And Vulcan comes to save the day. And to your point of him wanting to create a cleaner source, says, "I will create one that doesn't require any type of use. Like it doesn't require human sacrifice to be the, I guess, power source of this power plant."
Right.
Which, shout out to him. Also messed up that his family was just like, "Yeah, let's use
You
people."
know, yeah, they kind of like, and it's unfortunate that both Vulcan's like dad and his grandfather are deceased, so we can't like dig into, I guess, what the decision was there, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe like there'll be some kind of like documentation, like secret documentation of like why they did what they did, or maybe
Yeah.
how they built Amaterasu and like what they would have done differently, or I don't know. Because it's definitely, yeah, I don't know. The way that Vulcan talks about his family doesn't make it seem like they would just be down for human sacrifice, you know?
It
So
makes you
it begs the
wonder
question.
if he even knew. Because at first I was gonna say maybe that's why he was so much on the side of I need to not necessarily atone for my family, but I need to make sure they get the
Mm,
recognition.
I see.
Um, but then it's like, who knows? I think that's sort of a threat that's left for the third season. I really want to know what they're going to do with it. But it
Yeah.
does, yeah, I was gonna say it does also lead us basically directly into the last arc of the season where now more and more teams are, or more and more people are sort of starting to recognize the very real threat of the evangelist and the white clad. So that creates a couple of dominoes. First, Maki's family sort of recalls her back to the army, which is still kind of weird to me because you're in the army. You're still, granted she was a secretary now, but it's like you are very much still in the line of duty. Like I get
Yeah.
you're not a fire first soldier, so you're not diving headfirst in, but it's like you're very much in line to be called up, I would assume.
Well, it's not the front lines, I guess.
I
It's
guess yeah, that's she was definitely backline soldier. With the other lady, I don't know if they ever gave her a name. The other secretary who was with her,
yeah, I have no
she
idea.
very much was not important. She was just there to sort of show the dichotomy of Maki, who is someone's daughter, who is someone very important, but also
Hmm.
still wants to fight, versus someone who's very much just, all right, I'm going to take advantage of this life that I have. I just want to sit here, look pretty, and she very much is like she wanted to look at cute soldier boys.
Yeah.
The other domino to fall was that the second company and the eighth company are going to do a joint mission into the Nether. Maki's brother Takaji
Takiji.
Takiji. Well, he before before that they officially kick off the joint mission, him and his partner are leading an investigation into the Nether, and this is also sort of what helps affirm his dad's belief in like we have to get Maki out of the Fire Force. He very much was on board with it too. They go in there, they see a lab, and a suicide bomber, essentially white clad, tries to take them out. He pushes his partner out of the way. I thought he died. Even watching
Hmm.
it again, I forgot that he lived, and I was like, "Dang, he definitely go." So then to see the next scene where he has like his arm in a sling, he has like just patches over him, like, "Oh, you were close to death, but you made it out." I was like, "Oh, okay,
Hmm.
okay."
And then he still went on that mission. That was crazy.
Still went on a mission, was a huge help in that mission.
He went on that mission to freaking check what's his name?
Hin-
Hinawa.
Hinoa.
Yeah, he wanted to
Yeah,
go check out and be like, "Yo, this is what you have my sister be doing. What
yeah.
the hell?"
His was pure pettiness, and his was pure spite. But like you said, in that mission, they are. I don't remember how many different groups they split, but obviously, you figure two companies, you have a
It was
large
too
number of
many.
people,
Tell you that much.
and they go down there and they almost get decimated. Like,
Yeah.
when the other scene and what made it was supposed to be sad. I know it was, but the scene where they were showing everyone's flashback, like they showed the first guy,
Oh,
him and
yeah.
him and his fiance are going to get married. The second
Hmm.
guy, she's talking about his son, and then the third guy, he's just talking about, I can't wait to wear my new shoes. And then
Yeah.
what was so funny is he comes out of it, he tells his captain, like, yeah, no, my flashback was terrible. I know I'm gonna live. Nah, did he
Hmm.
get stabbed through? I was like, oh, this is so funny, but so sad at the same time.
Yeah, like he could have done so much more with his life.
But yeah, they were getting decimated. We saw a new white clad. They were knights of the Violet Flame. So the ones we had been seeing initially were all knights of the White Flame, I believe. So I think it's just different orders within this group. But
Hmm.
the lady that Juggernaut, Tamaki, and the platoon leader had to fight, she she was crazy. Like, that power, she basically has like a fire whip, and it happened so quickly that she took out the platoon leader. It was sad to watch, especially because it happened right after his big moment. Like, they were talking about
Yeah.
his eyes that can see through everything.
Hmm.
He had his cool moment taking out all the inferno. He didn't need to catch the bullet with his tongue. That was weird, but he had his thing going. And then right in the middle of that, you just see the whip come through, cut his head in half,
She was like, cool
and
story, bro.
basically it was a mess. Juggernaut had, well, first Tamaki had her moment of, because she has a resistance to fire, she was able to withstand a lot of Orochi's attacks.
Yeah.
When she gets overwhelmed, it was very unfortunate, because while she was doing that, Miss Fan
Yeah.
Service again, it was just another
Yeah.
moment for that.
Hmm.
But once she gets overwhelmed, Juggernaut has his moment of sort of getting over his cowardice, and it, you can see the confusion, what he was doing to Orochi, like what Orochi was facing, because she would use the whip, and he's just, because he has so many layers, she's never actually hitting him. And by the time she finally starts to be able to turn the corner and like actually get some hits in, he was already in his bag, and he took her out. I I forgot how close we were to the end of the season. I was like, man, that was kind of quick, actually.
Hmm.
But he takes her out, but not before withstanding a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And luckily, when it looked like Maki or Tamaki was going to get overwhelmed again, uh, Captain Obi, and I forgot the second company's captain's name, but he's the bald headed dude. They come and save the day. Basically,
Oh, now I know. When you said bald headed dude earlier, I was just like, maybe I'll remember. Now I remember. It's the mustache for me. That's what I remember about it.
really, I remembered
Yeah.
the bald head because the little fire comes on top of it. It was so
I
funny.
was like, there are other kind of bold-ish people. I remember the fire on top of the head, but then I was like, bald and fired. I'm like, no, no. It was the mustache that I needed in that detail. I'm
I
like,
don't even remember the
oh,
mustache like that. I'm gonna have to
it
take a
was
look.
crazy.
Was it?
He got a big thick one.
Does he? Okay, I'm gonna have to take a look. So
But yeah,
yeah,
he's headbutting.
yeah, he was headbutting from miles away too. It felt like
Yeah.
just yeah.
He's a bullet.
um, but yeah, so outside of that, like I said, they are really getting decimated on a front, because I feel like by
Yeah.
the time they finally everybody met up, it was probably like 10 people, maybe even less. Like, everyone had like their moment. Like Victor, he didn't really have a moment. His
He
entire
was running.
squad just
Yeah.
yeah, his entire squad just got destroyed, and so he was able to run. Arthur and Shinra are fighting Giovanni again, who kind of has some bug upgrades.
Oh man,
he's
Giovanni's a freak.
he's doing a lot. He had like 6 arms now.
Hmm.
He was able to use pheromones to to like predict what they're doing and predict where they're going
Yeah,
to
like
be.
listen to their well, not listen to their thoughts, but kind of like feel what they were thinking, I guess.
Yeah, it was an interesting way to go about things. And then
Yeah.
Hinoa and Maki's brother Takiji they were like fighting and arguing this guy who had he was essentially a living weapon. Like he was like like how blacksmiths temper steel and make it stronger. He was a
Mhm.
living embodiment of that. And it was really interesting to see their fight. I was also kind of annoyed with it because I'm like, bro, shut up. Your sister, it was one of those like she got this type of deals.
Mhm.
But they were arguing and fighting, and I do think that the way that Hinoa was able to overcome the body of steel and be like, well, your joints can't be still if you still want to move. That was
Right.
kind of cool because I didn't
That
think
was
about that at
smart.
all.
No, yeah.
Because even when he said, I need to get around his defense, for some reason I was like, oh, he's just going to wait till he attacks. Maybe have to take a hit and like shoot during that because you can't
Yeah.
have still when you're trying to hit. I don't know what I was thinking. His was clearly a much better plan. I'd have died.
Yeah, I know. Like, I don't know if I would have thought about that.
I for sure would have died. But once they all get together, Victor and Vulcan sort of figure out that their big plan and what the White Cloud were trying to do this entire time were essentially gather enough bodies, gather enough infernals to create one giant boom underneath the Tokyo Empire. You're in the heart of the Tokyo Empire at that. So this was supposed to be like their first big shot. And through Maki showing up at the right time
Yep.
and her brother, they were
Got
able
the
to
call.
thwart that. And I thought that was a really cool moment because Maki was finally able to get her big moment, like her moment of I am somebody who is worthy of being on the Fire Force. Her
Right.
brother was
Like,
able
don't
to
doubt
see it.
women.
Yeah, because man, her brother was going crazy about that. He because she even said like you got up there, you fight every day. He's like, but you're a girl,
Mhm.
and it was just like, ooh,
I'm
that was a
like,
rough
bro,
one.
what year is it?
I was definitely thinking that. So it was like I said, it was really dope for her to have her moment. Even hearing her mom and her dad talk, obviously not even just to her, but just among themselves after they're in. Um, it was great to see that they were like, yeah, no, she's where she needs to be. Um,
Mhm.
it's funny, even like when her dad said you should go back, I always felt like it was the brother who was the one pushing it the most. The dad kind of felt I really felt like the dad was just kind of whatever.
Yeah,
I would
dad was
prefer
like,
if you're
I
here.
want to see my baby.
Yeah,
And the
like
brother was just like, you're going to sit in this corner and you're going to be quiet.
like even the dad asking her to come back to the army felt like you said more of him being like, I get a chance to see you every day if you here. Like I
Mhm.
don't know where you at if you part of the fire force.
Yep. I like, maybe she'll visit more and that'll help kind of things with
Hmm.
her dad, I guess. Not that he was super pushy. It was really the brother that
Hmm.
needed to see that she was capable, she can handle herself, and that, she does have a place in the fire force and she wasn't tricked into joining just to, I
Which
guess,
was
be like Hina was. I don't know. I don't know if he thought there was something going. I feel like there could be something going on between them, but it's not like a malicious relationship.
no, it's I don't know. I don't understand their relationship because like it very much felt like even when he told her you should go back, I felt like oh he's sort of just like I think he still wanted her there, but he was just like just go.
Oh, I was hurt. I was like, why would he say that? Why would he do that?
I
Then it
don't
turns out it was like, he just wanted her to be safe. And he's like, I don't
yeah
know. I don't know if he cut out for this. Like,
yeah
get out before it gets hot.
which honestly when you go into that and like I said you first see the dude get half his head cut off I was like, ooh I don't know bro. There's a lot of people who probably shouldn't be here.
Yeah, yeah, not everybody's cut out to be a fire soldier.
No,
But Maki definitely is. She saved the
yes,
day.
yes. And then the season ends with the after basically the come down from the joint mission to the Nether. Company's 8 rookies all go to Benimaru for like their training. So Tamaki gets her power up. It's very
Thank God.
unfortunate that it comes with another fan service moment.
Yeah, it's par for the course.
It is par for the course. Shinra and Arthur get their power up, and like now they have blue flames, which Science lesson, if you didn't
Yeah.
know, means that they are hotter than regular flames.
Exact. Fun fact slash something I think about. So in Hades, when Hades gets mad, he goes from the blue hair to red hair, and I was like, that means his head actually got cooler. So he should have went from blue to white.
Mm.
They didn't have no scientists
They
like
didn't.
me
They
on the
didn't. They
animation
didn't.
squad.
No, no.
Next time, Disney. Next time. But yes, the flames went from orange to blue. Because they like what did they call it?
So
It
they're
was like some kind of focus mode.
yeah, they're
Something.
like tapping essentially into the fight or flight instinct,
Yeah.
and I guess because they are soldiers, the flight part is not there. It's just you're just tapping into that primal fight instinct, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But even at the end of it, Benimaru said, "Good, now you can do it. Now you need to learn how to be able to do it at will."
Yeah.
And so I think that was sort of that nod to everybody watching to be like, yeah, it's essentially almost like when Goku went Ultra Instinct, and now you
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to learn how to control Ultra Instinct. So
True.
I feel like that's sort of going to be the journey of the third season for those two. Is like,
I'm
okay, we have
kind
this
of
power. How do we do it?
I'm kind of curious because Benny Morrow said when they actually got into the real lesson after they got done like pretty much
Yeah,
hazing
getting hit.
them.
Yeah.
He was like, Captain Obi is like the embodiment of this like the
Mm-hmm.
fighter flight form, basically, even though he doesn't have any fire powers. So I wonder if that will be the one thing that Obi teaches Shinra and Arthur before the season or before the series ends. I also am like, I don't know. I don't know if Obi's gonna make it.
You
I
don't
don't
think
know if
so?
he's.
Oh
I
no!
don't know if he's gonna make it. I don't
I
know.
think he's gonna make it. That'd be
I would
crazy.
like for him to make it, but I feel like somebody's dying. Somebody's
It
dying for
might be
sure.
Hinawa. I don't know.
The only hold on. The only about
Uh
that
oh.
is I'm like, it's terrible to say, but
It wouldn't hit. I
yeah,
get you. That's what you want to say. I know what you
yeah.
want to say. I got you.
Like I would be bad, but I'm like, oh damn, that sucks. If Obi went, I was like, damn, not Obi.
No, yeah, I would definitely be distraught if Obi goes. So I'm hoping that is not the case.
Yeah.
Um, but no, honestly, the last I think it was like the last 2 episodes of the series of the season was literally like, all right,
Training up.
this is training, and yo, we are preparing for because now all of the Fire Force companies are fully in with the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell they still don't kind of like each other. Hydra Industries is fully in. Going back to that enemy of my enemy is a friend. I think all three of them are like, I don't really rock with you, what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
but I need you because the white clad out here are trying to put up some mess.
Yep.
And one of the very last shots of the season are the white clad basically looking down at Tokyo saying it's time to complete our operation. So I'm very curious if the first episode is going to be like the start of the attack, because it's
Mm.
like it'd be really weird if you see them looking down at the end of the season and it's like, all right, back to base.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. It's like it's tough because they have like this 4-year gap where they do have to. I feel like if they'd be nice, they kind of refresh people, bring people back to the mindset that like, hey, something is about to happen, before they just like throw people into the deep end. There's also the question of there's supposed to be like 8 pillars, right? So they're missing
They're
2.
missing 2.
So something's got to happen between like episode 1 and episode maybe 24. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
Where
I guess. I guess yeah. I wasn't necessarily thinking. I know I said it right at the beginning. I didn't necessarily mean like it needs to open up with an attack,
oh, okay, that's
but you
mhm.
take. Oh no, that'd
I
be
thought I was just
really
like,
insane. No,
bam, welcome to Fire Force.
no, oh no. I was thinking like the first episode is sort of. I wouldn't necessarily say a redo of the getting ready, but like sort of a continuance of like you see them sort of doing their day to day, but everything's kind of tense because now all 8 companies are working in tandem with
Hmm.
the Empire, also with the Hydra industry. So it's
Hmm.
like you sort of see the new normal of what that means, but then the end of the episode
Oh,
is the
okay,
attack.
okay, yeah. I see. Okay, yeah, I think that can work. I think that's what they might do.
I hope so. I'm gonna call it. I'm like, yeah, that was me. I was in the right room. Give me a
Like,
credit.
dang, Didge leaking confidential information. Take him out. Take him out. Like, no, not Didge.
But no, the second season I thought was really good. Like, I remember I was looking at just some of like the reactions to the second season just before I had started rewatching it again, and some people were like, "Oh, I don't like how they like where they went with Shinra's character," and
In what
I
way did
kind
they
of
mean that?
so they were saying that they felt like he got more dumb, like they felt like he was kind of acting like Arthur was,
What?
and like I said, this was before my rewatch. So I was like, I don't remember it from the first time around. Maybe I'll see it this time. And I bring it up because I don't see it. And I mean,
Yeah.
this wasn't like it was just like one or two people saying it. Like, I saw it from a lot of different reviews. And I'm just like, granted, now it's way too late to go back to them like, hey, elaborate on this because they probably don't remember.
Yeah.
But I really wish I could talk to some of those people and be like, elaborate on this. Because I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I thought this was the better of the two seasons.
Yeah, so. I definitely agree with you. I don't know where the like Shinra like got dumb comment came from, unless it's like
I don't know.
I have no idea. But no, I definitely think this is the better of the two seasons. I also feel like this is where we really got into like what the story of Fire Force is, versus season one kind of felt like, if we're to think about this in books, like season one was like the prologue, and then I feel like the second season was really where we got into like the meat of what this story is and who these characters are and how everything connects to each other. And then season 3, I think we'll probably get some more of that, but we'll also hopefully get an epilogue to close things out rather than just leave us on another cliffhanger.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
That would be so wild.
No, I would definitely agree. Like season one, I won't necessarily say it all felt like setup, but because like obviously we're getting introduced to characters and whatnot, like story is moving through it, but it really doesn't feel like things are starting like, hey, all right, we're into this now.
Yeah.
Until you you start understanding a little bit about the Adola burst, the Adola links, what Adola is in general.
Yeah.
And then season 2, it just sort of takes that and goes leaps and bounds ahead, because now we're starting to figure out, okay, what does that mean for society? What does that mean for the start of society? How did we get here? And they just start pulling so many things while still telling these mini arcs in between it, that it felt like it flowed so much better. Like with season 1, obviously binge watching it for the rewatch, I felt like I had to go back like so much and be like, oh, okay, wait, where's this coming from? Because stuff would just come back. Whereas season 2 felt like it built upon itself over and over again, and it just felt like more of a flowing story.
Yeah, there was a lot more depth in season 2 for sure. And there's some things that, we still don't know the answer to, like the freaking pi code, whatever that was. So I need to figure that out. Lots of other things too, but it was definitely the more interesting of the two seasons for me as well.
Yeah.
But great, both seasons I really enjoyed.
Oh,
I had a lot of fun with.
Yes, season 1. The other thing I forgot and I can't believe I forgot. I loved the fact at the very end they knew which intro to bring back.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like they knew what to bring back. So I was like, yes, let's go. Bring the goat back. So I was really happy.
See,
about that.
That's the other interesting part about them doing that, because I feel like you do that at the end of a series, So the fact that they brought it back for season 2, I was like, wait, was this supposed to be the end?
It felt like it could have been the ending.
Yeah.
It very like season 1 like felt like a season ending, whereas season 2, I wonder if they really were like, oh, we might not get another one of these, y'all.
Yeah, it's over.
make it feel like it's over.
Like, this was fun, y'all. Remember this? This? So
they had a Fresh Prince meme looking around the room like, man, we did a good job.
Yeah. I wonder. I don't know if anything ever came out about like why there was such a big gap, or if they knew coming in and that's why they kind of made everything sort of feel like a series finale. Because even with like they had the opening, the really famous opening for the original opening, then they had like the credits scrolling with the different characters like doing stuff. Like it
Hmm.
all felt like it was like, yo, this is the series finale. Like, thank you everybody for watching. Goodbye.
Yeah,
So
I'm trying to look now. I don't see anything that I can find very quickly about like why it had such a long gap.
it's very interesting. It's really, I don't know, but
Uh, Who knows? But all that matters is that it's back. I don't know when this is releasing. We're recording this in the middle of March. I'll peel the layer of the onion back to let you know. But I am so excited. I cannot wait. I remember saying before we started our rewatch that like, man, I can't believe this is the last season. Oh, I could go with so much more Fire Force, and half of that was
mhm.
just because I hadn't seen it in forever,
Yeah,
and the other half was because I didn't remember how this season ended. But after finishing this season, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this makes sense. There, you can't tell too much more.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'm like, they got one season. I'm like, if they wanted to do a 12 episode season, then I can see them doing two seasons because they've been doing
well, I think
24 episodes.
so. I think because it is split into two cores.
Okay.
So I think that's why. So essentially, it's like been a 6 season show.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most animes, especially now, are doing 12 episode seasons.
Hmm.
So if you're looking at it in that vein, then yeah, we got 6 seasons, and 6 seasons feels about right.
Yep. That's a pretty good, decent size for a show. Like only thing you could ask for outside of that, maybe like a little spin-off movie or who knows what they're doing. I don't know.
Give me a vlog movie or something.
That would be fun. But yes, it comes out, was it April 5th? 4th? One of the
Fifth,
5th,
fifth.
yes. So not too far away. By the time this gets posted, like, this recap will be here right on time, help everybody
Mm-hmm.
remember. Hopefully bring back some memories of like where you were when you originally watched Fire Force and get you excited for the final season.
It definitely did that for me because I remember the first time I had watched the ending of this season. I was at King's Barber Shop, so Um, obvious. I guess I don't know how many people here on Amateur Otaku. King, he's a member of Geek Set. Does a lot of content with us, but he also owns his own barbershop. So in typical barbershop fashion, there's always something playing. There's people there always
Hmm.
talking. But in not so typical barbershop fashion, a lot of it is built around anime, sort of his love for anime, sort of his love for pop culture, stuff like that. And so I remember being there. We were watching Fire Force. I was probably in line to get my head shaved or whatever. And then I remember we saw fam do all his stuff with like the heat seeking eyes.
Mm.
And I
Oh,
can't remember who it was, but somebody was like, "Yeah, bro, beast. I know he about to be killing it." And I don't know if King had already saw it, or if he just kind of had an inkling of what was to come. But I just remember him looking up, like giving sort of like, man. And then as he's saying, as you see the head come, like see the whip come through,
hmm.
and everybody was just like, "Dang." Well, so that was just the moment that I'll always remember because it was just so crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm like, when did the first season come out? I feel like I was probably in high school. Fire.
Okay.
Let's see. Fire Force season one. It was. Oh no! It was actually. I was starting college. It was between high
Okay.
school and college. So yeah, I was in a new chapter of my life with a new anime that I was thinking was just going to be about firefighters, and lo and behold, twas not. Twas much
No.
greater.
I mean, I guess in a sense they're fighting fires.
They are, but it's like it's way different than the other firefighter anime that's
That's
literally just them fighting fire.
no, that's fair.
um, but yeah, it's been a crazy ride. I can't believe this one has also crossed into. It's not been a decade, but it's been a very long time. This and Attack on Titan, they're like, they've seen me grow quite a bit as a person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what is there anything that you are highly anticipating for Fire Force season 3? Anything you want to see on like a wish list or something, or I don't know.
Oh, God. Honestly, I don't have anything specific. I really do want to see these new powers in action. Obviously, I feel like
Yeah.
that's everyone. Um, you know what? On my wish list, don't take out Obi. Don't listen to Jamie.
I
I
don't
love
want it. I just like I don't know. It feels like
she the person trying to kill off everyone,
I'm
and you
not
hate
trying
to
to
see it.
kill off everyone. I'm just like
You hate to see it.
it feels like something might be happening. I don't know. On my
She
wish
became the
list.
villain she hates.
Oh man, listen, I didn't even say I hated Yuichiro. That's the thing though. I was always the villain. But but
Mm.
what I want to see, I would love to see Shinra and Sho team. First of all, I don't think Sho is like unable to control himself anymore, I guess, because he was kind of like
Oh yeah,
Hamiya's
she
doll
Homea's yeah,
or
like
Hamiya's
use like
doll. But I think he
yeah.
woke up from that. I think he was there at
I
the
don't
end.
think
He
so.
was standing there at the end, I think.
Yeah, but I think she still has him under control.
Do you think so? I don't know. We'll see. But I first of all want Show to like break out of that, and then second of all, I want to see like, you know how like Goku and Gohan are like the father son attack. Like I want a brother brother attack.
Oh
The brother
god.
attack. I want that. I want to see
That
that.
would be interesting. That would be really
They
interesting.
both stop time and just do something crazy. I don't know. That's what I want to see. Well,
I'd be here for that.
but yes, we did the thing, everybody. That was our recap. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give us a like. So that way more of our content gets recommended to you, and subscribe if you want notifications for when the next thing comes out. We'll definitely be talking about Fire Force here on the channel. So don't
Mm-hmm.
miss our coverage. Obviously it's going to be a lot of memories, a lot of stakes, a lot of nervousness, possibly death to be talked about. So y'all don't want to
I
miss
feel
it.
like that's inevitable.
Y'all don't want to miss it. But yeah, Didge, where can the people find and support you?
You can find me at Didge D in all places. In some places, make sure you put an underscore between the Didge and the D. But
Interesting.
oh, I don't know. You can also find me on the Geek Set Podcast at Geek Set Podcast. The best way to know about anything that's upcoming is to just follow me on social media because I don't post a lot. So if I do post, that means something is out. Ooh, I should have
One
kept talking
sneeze
if I
to
didn't know
close
that
us
was gonna
out.
happen.
I was gonna say when I'm not fighting a sneeze, but the fight has been lost.
Yeah, you lost that.
Yeah, but when I'm not sneezing up the whole place, you can find me here on the Amateur Otaku, but also at Swiper_Prime on Twitch and YouTube, playing through some games. Right now, I've been streaming through Metaphor, Refantasio. That's been a lot of fun. And on YouTube, I've been playing through Okami. And that has also been a lot of fun. So just a lot of fun to be had around this time. I think South of Midnight will actually be out for me because I bought the deluxe edition, so I get to play a few days early. So I'll probably be streaming some of that too. So tune in, tune in, tune in. But yes, we appreciate y'all for watching. And until next time, keep reading manga and watching anime. Peace.
Peace. Or Latom.
Oh yeah, what's the prayer? What's the prayer?
Oh, I had it up too. Hold on. I think I
ready.
on three, I guess.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
The
The
flame is
flame
the
is the
soul's
soul's
breath.
breath.
The
The
black
black
smoke
smoke
is the
is the
soul's
soul's
release.
release.
Ashes thou
Ashes thou
wert,
wert,
and
and
art
art
I.
I.
May thy
May thy
soul
soul
return to
return
the
to the
great
great
flame.
flame.
Lato.
Latom.